I've been thinking about making a bottle opener. I haven't made one in a while, and I like wood turning, and wood turning, some of those things, it's not like riding a bike. You got to do it regularly to keep your skills honed up. So I had this stack of off-cut walnut here. It's got some cool grain to it. So I think make a bottle opener. This is one of those projects that people ask me a lot, regardless of what it is I build. How'd you learn to do that? Or how long did it take you to learn how to do that? A great example is in wood turning. So when it comes to wood turning, there's a lot of things you want to look at. And this piece of wood here, I got some nice cool grain in here, nice little bit of curl. This is gonna it's good size for a bottle opener. So the problem is we're gonna take a rectangle square piece of wood and we got to make it round. So the first thing we're gonna do is cut off these square. So you can see now it's got a slope to it. We're gonna cut that square, and then we're gonna put it in the lathe. We'll find the center, put it in the lathe. So here's how we do that. So my preferred tool for this process is the chop saw. So we're just gonna square it up nice and even on the ends. Next thing we got to do, where are you? There you are. Next thing we got to do is find the center. So I have this little cool jig here. You could just take a straight edge and draw across either way. I actually have this little jig. It's got a 90-degree mark on it. Lay it in there and mark the center. And I do it all the way around all four corners. That just ensures, like, this is off a little bit. That helps me get the most accurate middle. Now that we found the middle on both sides, kind of can see the little X there. We're going to use the awl. Put it right there in the middle, give it a good whack. So. Now, got it centered mark defined. Now it's back to the lathe to start turning. So now that we got the centers defined, we got the hole started on this piece, next thing I'm going to do now is go ahead and attach it to the lathe, and we're going to use a couple tools, special tools for that. The first tool we're going to use, not tool but accessory. There's two primary type accessories for this. The first is a spur drive. This just has this nice little point here with these little wings. This helps bite it down, hold it really tight. That goes in the headstock, then on the tailstock. Oh, a little jammed up over here. On the tailstock is just a point, and then this spins. So the idea is the headstock, that's going to drive it, spin it, and then this here is just going to spin and keep it centered. So this goes on the tailstock like that, nice and tight. Grab a piece of wood. What we want to do here is set it up in between. So we come on over here. This doesn't really make a big difference on which side's which. So what we're going to do is this is locked down. We put that in that hole there. Bring up the tailstock into the other hole. Lock this in here. Give this a full few turns. And what I like to do is push this button here, locks it. Give it a little wiggle. That's really helped in that drive center really bite in there. So bite in, and once it's nice and good, we're going to lock it down the tailstock. So now we are free to spin, and we can go ahead and throw on the tool rest, get the tool rest right where we want it, and we are ready to turn. Okay, we are between centers. We're locked in. Our tailstock's locked down. Our headstock's locked down. We are nice and centered. The first tool we're going to use is the roughing gouge. This I've had forever. Dymic. Actually, the Ginger wood turner, he's a wood turner from Germany. He and I chatted back and forth when I first got into wood turning, and he recommended this brand as a great starter brand. I've had this for 8 or 9 years. I have the set, and this has been phenomenal. Is it the best? No. Is it the cheapest? No. Does it work great? Yes. So this is a simple tool. It's got a nice little simple bevel on there. The whole purpose of this tool is to take square stuff, make it round. So that's what we're going to do first. So every tool has a different setting where it needs to be at as far as top of the tool rest and the center. Also what angle. So with turning, it's a matter of this angle this angle, so it's all about angles. For a roughing gouge, me personally, I like to be a little above center. And what I'm doing is I'm lining this up here with the bed down there, making sure we're square and parallel, which we are right there. Making sure this is good. I've already put a nice edge on this and we are ready to turn. So after just a few minutes, our square piece of walnut, which started off looking like this, now is perfectly round and symmetrical. No flat spots on there. It's ready to go. Now this is, I got pretty big hands, but this is just way too big. So as we shape it and get the typical shape that I like, we're gonna go ahead and start taking it smaller, but get that nice curve that I like when I do my bottle openers. The next tool we're going to use, we're done with the roughing gouge. We're going to dive into my favorite tool, which is my Thompson bowl gouge. It's got that fingernail grind on it, which I call swept back grind. There's a million different grinds, types of grinds. This is the one I like. I think this is a 55-degree grind, here angle, swept back. So I think it's 1 3/4 inches. There's a whole nother thing on sharpening, but this is my favorite go-to tool. These, in my opinion, I've used about every tool there is. In my opinion, the Thompson wood tools are the best. He's actually a local guy here in Northern Ohio, retired Ford plant worker, started making tools on the side. These are just phenomenal. They're like, I don't know the exact science, but the steel itself, this comes out, you can buy this, you can only buy one, you only really need one handle, but you can buy all the different tools it fits. Very smart design. But something to do with the steel, he takes the steel and he puts it down to like 100 degrees below zero or something like that. I'll put down here what it's called, but it helps keep the edge super sharp and helps maintain the edge. So these have been great tools. I plan on buying more as more money comes in and once I get the shop up and done. But yeah, Thompson wood tools, if you need to buy one tool, this is the 3/4 inch V-groove bowl gouge, my favorite tool. So one thing I like is to burn in some lines. So what I'll do is I'll find kind of the center point of the handle. So if you go from here to the peak here, it's 5 inches. Something else tells me 2.5 is the middle. We'll do an inch from there, another inch, another inch. And we're gonna burn in some little lines in there. Inch. Let's do that. Let's do an inch here, inch, inch, inch. So not this one. So we're going to burn in some lines just for some texture and add some details. So what we'll do is we'll just put the pencil on here. There's a line. There's a line. There's a line. So what we're going to do is, to get that line in there, is a two-step process. The first step is creating a little groove. And to do that, we're going to use this little tool. There's a lot of different ways. Here's the tool I'm going to use. It's got a little point there. All we're looking to do is just break the surface of the wood. Now that we got these little grooves pinched in here, 1 inch apart, we're going to bust out my super fancy, top secret burning tool. So this is literally just a piece of chicken wire with 2 pieces of scrap wood in between. We're going to crank the lathe up really high. We're going to take this out of here. And now we're going to burn. Now we got these lines in here, and I think I like it. I like these I don't know. I'm not sure if I like it or not. Let's go ahead and smooth it out and see how it works for us. So all we're gonna do now is run through the grits. So it has got some cool colors in it. I guess I don't hate the marks. I'm just debating on, should I put one up here? I think I'm gonna leave it. No, I'm not gonna leave it. I don't like it. I am going to sand it down, starting all over. This goes to show you, I would say probably a third of the things I make for myself I throw away because I'm not happy with them. So I just don't like it. I think it's taken away. I don't think we need it. So luckily it's thick enough we can just turn right through that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick little video here, or a time lapse, and we're gonna burn right through it and act like it never happened.
Stress. I'm feeling lighter. I'm finally feeling like
Okay, this is sanded up to 220. You know, there's still some little sand marks you can see in here. I'll actually sand this by hand with the grain by hand. Right now, I mean, I am pretty happy with that. I don't think I'm going to need the marks. I like the wood just the way it is. So next thing we're going to do is we have to drill the hole that's the right diameter to hold the threaded inserts. So I have a special drill for that. So what we're going to do next, we're going to take this drill bit here. Kind of hard to see. There you go. And take this drill bit out. We're going to put it in the lathe, and we're going to drill a hole into the head of the bottle opener to hold the handle. The next thing to do is tap it. So we have the hole here, but we have threads on the bottle top. So we have to use this tapping tool to punch this hole out to tap the threads. This is where I get my daily workout. So it's just time consuming. It's gotta get done. It's one of those things you don't wanna rush, because if you rush it and you screw up the threads and the bottle top doesn't fit, then you just all for nothing. So that sound means we have a nice tight thread in there, so it makes me happy. Next thing we gotta do is go back over to the bench. Gotta fill the frame better, so I'll stand my toes. Next thing I do is go back over the bench, and we're gonna hand sand, and then we're gonna oil. So the next thing gotta do is hand sand. Even though we sanded it on the lathe, there is still some, it's kind of hard to see in the camera, there's still marks. So it was spinning this way, we're sanding it this way, so I could spend all day sanding it, but I found it's just faster to sand it this by hand with the grain. Now on the bottom here, we have the mark from the tool that's holding it. Sometimes people turn it off. I don't mind it on there, kind of let you know it was handmade, but there were some pencil marks. So instead of sitting here with a hand sander, I just bust out the random orbital. Now that we got this all sanded, and I'm real happy with it, up to 220, can't see any sand marks. Got a couple little burrs we'll work on. Just only way to get rid of that, just where the grain's raised a little bit. I'll go through and hit that by hand as we go along here. But the nice thing about this, it's nice, it's ergonomical. I think it's something you can stand up, you can put around. The next thing to do is do a test fit. So we're gonna put this in here, and then the threads are biting, that's what you want. And as you go through, it's tighter and tighter. Shouldn't have to use any glue with this. The reason why I don't like using glue is I want to be able to take this off and clean it if I have to without damaging the wood. So It's got a nice little crown around the top the way I wanted, and that looks pretty good. So the next thing I do is pop this back off. A little more detailed sanding where the grain kind of pops up. It's got a little texture to it, so we're gonna knock that down. And then we're going to use a beeswax finish on this. In fact, I made this for myself, but a friend of mine just texted me. I haven't thought about it in a minute, so I'm gonna send this to them as a gift. So anyway, you'll know who you are when you get it. So let's take it back apart, do some more sanding, and then we're gonna add the beeswax. So when it comes to food safe finishes, not that this has to be a food safe finish, I just feel like using it. This is a Howard's, which is my go-to product for anything food safe. Wax it all. This has, where's all the ingredients? All kinds of good stuff. This has got mineral oil, beeswax, Cadava oil. It's great for wood. It's great for any wood bowls, wood utensils, wood spoons, the ones your mom used to beat you with. It works good for preserving those. It also works good on stone if you have some rocks that you like to be polished. This works great. So if you really just take this, let me move over closer to the camera. And what we're doing is we're just buffing it in. It's probably more than I need. A little bit of this stuff goes a long way. So all we're gonna do is really work it in. And then at some point, just get rid of the towel, work it into the grain. It's good for your skin too, I bet. If I only knew an esthetician that could tell me if it was or not. So there you go. It is all rubbed in. I'm gonna let that sit for a few minutes, then I'm gonna buff it off. So it's been sitting here for about 20 minutes. It's time. I think that's good enough to get a good rub or good absorption to it. Now we're gonna rub this in. We're doing two things. We're wiping off the excess and we're also buffing it out, working that wax and that oil into the grain of the wood. I'm really glad I didn't go with the black marks on here. I think the grain was good enough. I was thinking about putting something on here, laser engraving, but I really think that this is just pretty sweet by itself. Kind of can see the grain jumps out there. Second to last step, once we're done, is to thread in the bottle cap. That threads in pretty simple like. Just turn that till it gets nice and snug. Yeah, that turned out pretty awesome. So I am happy with that right there. I have someone in mind I might give this to, I'm going to give to. But the last thing to do is you have to check it and make sure it works. So let's take my favorite beer of the summer. Oh, look at there, like butter. Even makes the beer taste better. So that is how we take a chunk of walnut like this, square. This is actually an offcut from a piece of furniture I built a long time ago. It had such a cool grain. I couldn't see myself throwing it in the burn pile. So here it is, nice and done. Oiled up, cool grain pattern. You can see that in there. So this will make a great gift. Usually when I make these, I'll spend a half a day in this batch amount. I save all these cool lumber. So this is it. This is for a bigger hand, I would say. But there you go. That's how I make my hand turn on the lathe bottle openers. Cheers.